can Render, the token, finally bounce back from that crash it's had about 3 weeks ago? Because since that crash, as you guys can see here, where Render went down to as far as about 43 cents, based on the Binance exchange data here. I think it also depends on what exchange you were on. But since that crash there, it hasn't really done too much. It has actually been just dragging down, right? However, what I am about to tell you on this chart here is that it still looks bullish for a couple of reasons. First of all, that crash still ended up with a wick back into the pattern. Now, wicks do not invalidate patterns, okay? So this was a wick that did not invalidate the pattern. So in that case, this falling wedge pattern is still valid. Falling wedges have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. And if this one breaks to the upside, by this point, let's just say, for example, price target will still be upwards of $19 Render token. Of course, price targets are estimates only. I've seen a lot of fake outs, especially in this bull cycle. There has been a lot of twists and turns. So some things to be considering. Okay, we're all just talking about probabilities here, and nothing is 100%. And even though these falling wedges have a higher chance of breaking to the upside, they still have a lower chance of breaking down. But it is still very important to note that, which probabilities are in favor of the direction it's about to move. Now, let's zoom into Render here real quick. I also want to mention that price targets, a lot of it does depend on what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dumping from here, that's not going to be good for a lot of these altcoins, as we have seen, okay? And these altcoin setups, they're not going to matter very much. However, if Bitcoin has more room to pump, which I still think it does, and I've been talking about my argument on why that is, and why that could carry a lot of these crypto markets into and restarting this bull cycle, okay? And I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here, so my opinions on these markets are bullish. However, these are just my opinions and not financial advice, like the entirety of this video. Okay, so you guys gotta form your own opinions and strategies. What I'm seeing here on this daily time frame for Render, if I want to zoom into what's happening with this coin, is that I'm seeing a falling wedge, a smaller falling wedge pattern. Okay, and this falling wedge pattern has a tightening channel, which gives me more of a indicator on when the move is about to come, because when it gets really tight, then that is when this pattern is about to break. Okay, let's just say if Render breaks out by this point, for example, this is the daily time frame. Price target would be about $3.15 for Render. Let's take a look into a 2-hour time frame here. Okay, 2-hour time frame, there is a possibility of a rising wedge pattern. Render does need to break out of this upward trend line, or a rising wedge pattern could actually be forming here, which is not good because rising wedges are bearish patterns that have a higher chance of breaking to the downside. This one is not completely formed yet. It does need to break out of this upward trend line in order to avoid that formation. So this is basically what I'm seeing for Render in a nutshell. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of this coin or any other coins in the market by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. I'll pick a request to you for you guys on a daily basis, and I'll see you on the next one.